Here's an interview from one of our past shows on Rock and Metal Revival. If you're interested in hearing full shows, go to our Facebook page and check out our list of affiliates for times and places where you can hear Rock and Metal Revival.
There's new music from the band Alta Reign. The song is called Immortal, and with us today from Alta Reign is drummer Jeff-Plate. Welcome to the Revival, Jeff.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's great having you on the show. I mean, we're fans of a lot of your previous bands like Sabotage and TSO and Metal Church. So when we heard you were starting a new project with Alta Reign, we wondered what direction the band would take. So I guess I got to ask you, has this project been on your mind for a while?
Yes, it has. This all started years ago. I was living in the Boston area, late 80s, early 90s. I was playing in a progressive melodic metal band called Wicked Witch, and my guitarist was Matt Leff, and the singer of this band was Zach Stevens, who you will know from Sabotage and TSO, and so back in the day we had a rehearsal room. I had a fairly primitive recording setup, just a soundboard and a cassette deck and a reverb unit, but I ended up recording just about everything we did, and I have over 20 90-minute cassettes full of just us playing. And so obviously we banged around the New England area for a while. Zach ended up getting the gig singing with Sabotage in 1992, and that really put a halt to the band Wicked Witch. And at that point, I ended up moving back to New York. The following year is when Chris Oliva from Sabotage, the guitarist in Sabotage, died in a car accident, and so I followed this up with a phone call to Zach Stevens to see how he was doing, and would he like to revisit the old material, and actually he said that Paul O'Neill and John Oliva were interested in keeping Sabotage going, and they wanted to hire me as the drummer. So I was reunited again with Zach Stevens in 1994 in the band Sabotage. So that was kind of an interesting twist of fate, so to speak. And as the years passed, obviously I've done a number of records with Sabotage and a number of tours. I worked with Metal Church for 11 years. And these tapes that I had previously mentioned, every once in a while I would listen to them. And several years ago I was listening to one of them, and because they were 30 years old, they were literally starting to deteriorate. So I decided I better digitize some of this stuff, and as I was doing that, I just realized there was so much material in these tapes that was never finished, was never going to be used, was never going to be heard. And Matt Leff and I have been friends for all this time, and unfortunately, about 6 years ago, Matt came down with cancer. He was no longer able to play guitar. And I asked Matt the question, would you mind if I took some of this material and did something with it? Because it's, like I just said, it's too good for people not to hear. And I had a number of ideas for this music, and he gave me the green light. So that was the start of Alta Reign, or me actually, getting serious about putting this project together. Unfortunately, we lost Matt at the end of 2019. But his music lives on, and I assembled a really, really good group of people in my area here, some people that I've known for a long time, and you can hear it in the recording. I got some really quality players, great singers, and the sixth member of the band is Jane Mangini, and she is a keyboardist that I've known for close to 20 years, who also works with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. So this is how this all came together. But yeah, this has been a long time in the works.
So listening to this album, there's a wide variety of heavy music in here. Is that something you were going for, or is that something that just kind of happened naturally as it was progressing?
Honestly, it was all pretty organic. I mean, my guitarist Tommy Cook. He's someone I've known for a long time. He's a really good guitar player. Matt Leff was a fantastic guitarist, and he had his own style. And I brought Tommy in, and I just said, hey, can you figure out what Matt is doing? And a lot of this stuff, like I said, these tapes were old. They were distorted.
Oh, yeah.
It's in a rehearsal room with, noise flying all over the place. So we spent quite a bit of time just picking this stuff apart. And this was, I mean, obviously I wanted to be kind of a progressive melodic metal band, but where it started was really just guitar riffs. So everything built from there, and once we started adding the vocals and the keyboards, it really started to develop into its own thing. It wasn't any particular direction that we were going for. It was just like, let's write some songs. And everything just really kind of fell into place. A lot of the old riffs inspired new riffs. Yeah. So there's probably 70% of this record is actually all original new material. But the old stuff is really what inspired it and gave it, I guess I gave it its initial direction to start with.
Ah, cool.
Well, you know, and Jeff, I'm one of those guys who likes to read liner notes. I've been that way all my life, and I see that on this album, a couple TSO alums, Chris Caffrey and Joel Hoekstra, played on this album. And what did those guys bring to it for you?
Well, it's interesting. Joel was one of the first guys I turned this music onto. You know, I had a bunch of demos, and one night on a day off, I said, hey, would you mind checking this stuff out? Well, he really dug it, and he really gave me some confidence in what I was doing. As we were listening to this, Joel was like, Jeff, if you ever need anything, just let me know. So the title track, Mother's Day, was just something that I had Joel pegged for as soon as we started putting that song together. And once he added his part to it, I mean, Joel just nailed it. His guitar parts on that song, he literally did in probably like one take. It was just perfect. Chris Caffrey, I mean, I've been working with Chris for 25 years. And, same deal. I turned him onto the stuff, and he really liked it. And, I said, I've got this song, Rise, and the end of the song, I wanted to be kind of chaotic, and I think you're the man.
Oh, yeah.
So he was completely up for that. And also me and Kim, who also plays in TSO. She added some keyboards to Mother's Day also. But yeah, these are people I've known for years, and we've always talked about working together. So this was a good opportunity to do that.
Now, the instrumental Escape, really, dude, I love weird stuff. I like stuff that surprises me, because, you get sick of the same chord progressions over and over with different lyrics and stuff. But, yeah, that one really picked me up and put me on my toes. Where'd that come from?
Wow, great question. So the song Come Out and Play is really kind of a twisted, misguided love song, and it's about people who are kind of stuck on the computer, have no real social life, have no boyfriend or girlfriend, are kind of angry at the world, and through the internet and through all of that, you kind of find places and groups and people like yourself. And so Come Out and Play is really like, you need to disengage. You need to get out and talk with people and whatever. I wanted to come up with an instrumental intro to Come Out and Play. And I wanted it to be a little schizophrenic. I wanted it to sound like, somebody's circuits were frying a little bit.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about this is a lot of this was finished, and this is one of the songs that was actually put together completely during COVID. So we'd all been, doing everything online and talking and contributing parts, and I had presented this idea for an instrumental. Well, it kind of got stuck in the mud. So what I did was I literally wrote that drum part, recorded the drum track, and I sent it to Jane, and I sent it to Kevin, my bass player. I was like, guys, write something to this. and honestly, nice. They both came back with different ideas, but some of them actually meshed together, and that's how that song came to be. It was really just the three of us, like, here's a drum track, guys. This is the vibe I'm going for. See what you can do with it. And I absolutely love it. So Kevin came up with the intro bass thing, and I added the drum solo over the top of that. But yeah, this was one of those pieces where I thought, if we're going to get a little proggy, this is a good place to do it. Yeah. And it's short and sweet, but that one took quite a while for us to really finalize and get together. But hey, man, I think it's really cool. I'm glad you appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Jeff, with 2020 being one of the strangest years, I should say, to date on record, Did it make it easier or more difficult for you to get this album together?
So we had most of it written by the end of 2019, and obviously I was on tour with TSO. I got back home early 2020. We kind of picked up and was trying to finish things up. Obviously, when COVID hit, it was like we weren't able to get together in the same room anymore. So everybody was really contributing. Everything was online from everybody's home studio. But the saving grace of all this was I obviously wasn't playing live. I wasn't doing anything. I just got up every morning and went down to my studio and worked on this record. And I learned a lot. I was, engineering, I was editing, I was writing, I was this, I was that. And it really opened up a window of opportunity for me to really focus on this record and nothing else. And this is my first venture out from behind the drum kit, being a band leader, being the lyricist, songwriter, producer, you name it. This is my baby. But this really gave me the time to focus on it and make sure everything was correct, because I felt I've been in this business for a long time, and if I'm finally going to release a solo project, it better be right.
Yeah.
So I had the time and the opportunity to do just that. And yeah, like I said, if there was any saving grace to last year, which was just such a mess, I guess that was it. But the end result is something I'm really proud of, and my guys in my band are too.
Now, is this a project you'd be going out on tour with? Is this a project you're planning on touring with eventually when, touring's an option again?
Well, I would love to. I think the situation is going to be interesting when touring really opens up. I mean, everybody and their brother has been sitting home. So everybody's going to try to get out there and get shows. I don't know how Alta Reign is going to fit into that right now. We've all decided we're going to focus on album number 2. So we've begun writing that as we speak. And my thought is, if we can get another album out by the end of this year or early next year, I would imagine next year is going to kind of open up for touring. And this is going to give us that much more credibility. We should be worth a little bit more. We'll be more established. Yeah. And we'll see how that works out. And, we'll deal with that problem when it comes. But I really hope we can, because I think this music live is just going to kick ass.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I do too. Jeff, I got a question about Sabotage. Is there any talk of anything going on with Sabotage these days? Is they're talking maybe some of the members getting back together and doing anything?
There is always talk of this. I find it amazing. We have not played a show in we did the Vakken show in 2015. But prior to that, we haven't released new material or done a tour since 2002. And I find it amazing that people still are interested and still kind of clamor for this band. I think it's great. So to answer your question, we lost Paul O'Neill 4 years ago, and this really threw the Sabotage TSO world way off track. And so we're still trying to get this sorted out. There's a bunch of material that Paul never finished regarding TSO. John Oliva has been working on some of this material. He's been writing other material. I don't really know, is it Sabotage? Is it John Oliva solo stuff? Is it TSO? John is always in the studio doing something. And Al Pichelli's been with him working on finishing up some TSO stuff too. So having said that, I really don't know. I certainly hope we could do something. I mean, I think everybody would be into that. But right now the fact is John is working on music and whatever it's geared towards, I'm really not sure. But I know TSO right now is probably the priority, and hopefully we can get some stuff done with that.
That would be cool. That would be cool. Now, I'm always amazed when we talk to musicians and stuff. I'm a guitar player. I've been playing my whole life. And the one band that got me into it, got you into it, Kiss. Now, what, because we talk to so many people, and you find out that, Kiss got me into it, got you into it. What was it about Kiss that got you going, like, I gotta play something, I gotta do something?
Oh, Man, so